All right, my peoples, how on a day? Make we yarn today. Make we yarn. Let's talk about this ongoing conversation regarding Nigeria changing its national anthem. So Nigeria recently changed a national anthem that has been around for over 40 years. I didn't even realize that there was another one. Imagine my surprise when I learned and found out that the national anthem that I grew up on, that I sung when I was a little boy, during my school years in Nigeria, was not really the original national anthem. Imagine my surprise on that. And then there was an original one that was there before the one that I was used to, the one I grew up on, the one that I think most Nigerians grew up on, the one that I sung at every football game, soccer game, FIFA World Cup. The one most people grew up on. It's been around for over 40 years. I thought that has been and has always been our national anthem. You know, imagine my surprise to learn that national anthem was not the original national anthem. You know, the national anthem that had words like, "Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's call to obey, to serve our fatherland with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and might, one nation born in freedom, peace and unity." Imagine those words that I, as a boy, and many people uttered out when our national anthem was being sung. You know, I grew up and I went to an all-boys school. And I remember the days of when we would have assembly lines. You know, they don't have those anymore. You know, before the school starts, you know, everyone's called out on an assembly line. You just kind of gather up in front of your school in rows, and you look at the flag and you sung those words that I've just told you about, the ones that I just talked about, those words I uttered. That was the first thing we did every morning. Imagine finding out that national anthem, right, was not our original national anthem. That we have another national anthem, an original one that was given to us by the colonial masters, people who colonized Nigeria, white people, British people. I want you to take a listen to this national anthem that Nigeria now decided, this administration decided to revert back to. Take a listen to this, and I'll be right back.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians own and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland.
Dude, I hate it. I really hate it. I hate that national anthem with every fiber in my being. I hate it. I hate it for two reasons. One, because this is something that was given to us by those who oppressed us, by our own oppressors, imperialists who came to our own country and our own land and stole our stuff, snatched us. People that enslaved our people, both in Nigeria and outside of Nigeria. They handed us something that they were not even part of. None of them were Nigerians. This was a national anthem that was created apparently by a lady, Lillian Jean Williams, a British expat, who, like many of the other British people that came to Nigeria back then, that segregated themselves. You see that video I just showed. There was not, most Nigerians were not represented in that video. There were only two. And those two, I can almost tell you, the man and the woman that was standing right there when that whole thing was being sung, I can tell you there were servants. There were slaves in the houses of these white people, serving them. They put them there as aesthetics, as a show off. Nigerians were not represented in this. A country that back then, this was done in 1959, back then was 99% black people, 99.9% black. So the few British people that came and segregated themselves and parsed out the best part of Nigeria for themselves, lived up in the hills and in the mountains, created this nonsense, right? And handed it to a majority black people right before their independence. And Nigeria got smart and said, no, we're going to change this stuff. And in 1978, a Nigerian police officer, an assistant commissioner of police, Benedict E. Odiase, who has since passed, created the national anthem that I grew up on. Imagine the national anthem that we have, the one I grew up on. Imagine the words in that national anthem that it really encompasses what Nigeria is. Imagine a national anthem that says, the labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. There were heroes in Nigeria who we honor with those words, who shaped Nigeria, who fought for Nigeria's independence, and who have since fought for Nigerian shaping and for Nigeria's liberty. Imagine representing those people in our national anthem. Imagine that we'll serve with heart and might. Is it news that Nigerians anywhere love their country and they serve it with heart and might? Imagine the words that represent most Nigerians. Most Nigerians are diehard fans and lovers of their country, patriots. Even while they might criticize the country, they love the country. You won't find too many Nigerians. Of course, you'll find some on the internet, but most Nigerians are diehard fans of their country. Even when they know their country, right, is going the wrong direction. Even when they know their country isn't doing what's right in most times for its people. Even when they know there's a lot of things wrong with our country, Nigerians love their country. It doesn't matter if you're Igbo, it doesn't matter if you're Yoruba, it doesn't matter if you're Hausas. These three tribes, even while they don't always agree and see eye to eye, there's no doubt in the hearts of these tribes, and many other tribes, by the way, there's over almost 400 tribes in Nigeria, love their country. And that national anthem, the one I grew up on, captures all of that. And so this administration decides to change it to a national anthem that uses words like, though tribes and tongues may differ. Right? Another word like, where no man is oppressed. This is the one that really caught me. This is the one that really, really caught me. You see, when you study white folks, right? White folks are known as people that put things on paper and they don't live up to it. That's who white folks is. They don't live up to anything because they're not connected to black people or black issues like we are. So when they put this here, when they said, help us build a nation where no man is oppressed, the entire time these people were there, they were oppressing the hell out of us. These are just words on a piece of paper. It's the same words on a piece of paper here in the United States, where all men are created equal. That was written into the Constitution. White folks wrote that into the Constitution, into the U.S. Constitution. But we all know, ever since that Constitution was drafted by the Founding Fathers, even till today, no, men are not created equal. Men are not dealt with the same equal rights afforded to certain people in society. So it's just words on paper. The same words on paper that they have in our national anthem. And the entire time, back in 1958, 59, 1960, all through even before then, they were oppressing the hell out of us, and they're still oppressing us to today. And they put that in the national anthem. And this is the same national anthem that this administration now decides to revert to. Why? What in the God-given reason will cause him to revert to a national anthem given to us by our own oppressors and colonial masters, people that came and oppressed us? What in God's green earth would cause this administration to think that that was a good idea in a time when Pan-Africanism is rising up, in a time when people are looking to connect with Africa? We are talking about how Africa is becoming a rising star in the midst of all of this chaos going on in the world, where people all over the world are trying to connect with Africa because they're tired of racism in the West. They're tired of racism in Europe. They're tired of oppressions from all these Europeans. And a lot of them are trying to connect with Africa. Nigeria, who's supposed to be the giant of Africa, does stupid stuff like this. Why? Because to tell you the truth, when I first heard about this, I was like, you know what? That pissed me off so much, I didn't want to touch this story. I didn't want to touch it. I was like, no. I said, you know, let me research this and find out what the real deal is, if there's any merit to this. And I couldn't find one. Nigerians all over the place are outraged at this. There are only a few people that are supporting this. And the reasons they're given is that this encompasses Nigeria and captures Nigeria for what Nigeria really is. Where exactly in these words I just read to you does it capture the country as it stands, or even in the past, the way it is? Where? I just gave you the lyrics of the one I grew up on that most people know, that has been played and sung all over. I didn't realize that we had this one that I just showed you, written by white people. Not just any white people. These were people that oppressed us, that colonized our own country, stole our land, took our land, didn't pay for it, by force, killed our people in the streets, killed our women in the streets, taxed us unnecessarily, heavily, and they're still oppressing our country to today. These are the ones that this current administration thought it would be wise for us to revert back to what they gave us. And you have some Nigerians hailing this. This is moving in the wrong direction. This is moving in the wrong direction. This is not what I expect from a country who is a giant of Africa. This is an embarrassment. This is nonsense. What do you say to diasporans? Hold on a second. Let's have this conversation. What with this type of move is Nigeria sending? What message is Nigeria sending to diasporans who are tired of oppression in this country called the United States? Who are tired of oppressions in Europe? Our African American brothers and sisters, our British brothers and sisters, our Jamaican brothers and sisters all over the world, in Europe, in America, who are looking to connect in Africa. What is this saying? How in the God-given earth are they supposed to now go to Nigeria to want to relocate to when Nigeria is embracing colonial ideology with its national anthem? Same people that sold them to another country, same British people that came and grabbed them and sold them. So, of course, as I mentioned earlier on, Nigerians are not happy with this. Nigerians are not happy with this. One of the voices who is a staunch critic of this administration is a young lady called Aisha Yusufu. She is an activist who became prominent and known during the End SARS movement and protest. She was a huge voice during that whole End SARS situation. She spoke out against the injustice and brutality of the police men and women in Nigeria against youth. It was a huge thing. So she gained notoriety during that time and has since become a voice that speaks up against the power that be in Nigeria. So recently she went to an event and this national anthem was played and she sat down. She decided to sit down, to sit this one out during that time. And it caused a huge stir. People are calling for her to be arrested. People calling for her that this is a treasonous offense and all of that. Here's my thought on this. First of all, to that young lady, Yusufu, I admire her courage. I admire her courage. She is a voice needed today. She's an amazing voice that is needed today. Nigeria needs more of those voices. Africa needs more of those voices. Those type of voices are the ones that bring change. It's a shame that while they are alive and around, most of us don't appreciate them until they pass on. That we realize the fight and the strength and the sacrifices that people like that make. I respect her resolve. I respect her strength. I respect her right to speak the truth. Now, if I were her, and if I were the one and I'm not her, I respect her sitting this one out. That is her choice. Nigeria is a free country. It is not a treasonous offense. That's not treason. She's not calling for Nigeria to be burned. She's not calling for an insurrection. Those are treasonous or treasonous offenses. This is not one of them. She has a right to sit it out. Now, I wouldn't do it like that. As much as I am displeased with national anthem, I would have stood up and put my hands in my pockets. Standing up to show respect for the country, putting my hands in my pocket to show my displeasure for this national anthem. That's what I would have done. Right? But I don't begrudge her for the way she handled it. Right? That is how she chose to do it. She has every right to do that. She has every right. It might not be the way you want to do it. It might not be the way how you might choose to do it. But you can't deny that what she's opposing and what she's rejecting of this is not the same sentiment that you have. You can't deny that. Most Nigerians oppose this. Now, I understand that most Nigerians will not handle it that way. I get that. But you got to understand where she's coming from. This was imposed on us. It took a week to pass the bill to push this in. It took a week. Most bills in Nigeria take months before they even get any resolution. This one took a week. What is the rush? So the question now becomes, why? Why? What is it that this administration is trying to distract us from? Because this is what it is. This is a distraction. Of all the stuff that Nigeria is facing, of all the issues, Nigeria has an unemployment rate high, inflation over 30% inflation, huge unemployment, 40% of that country is unemployed. huge inflation, over 30%. This is not, the country is headed in the wrong direction with this type of move. A lot of critical issues are going on with this country. And ever since this administration, who clocked 1 year, about a few weeks ago, the record that this administration chooses to show, right, is to change our national anthem. How is this moving Nigeria forward? How? Better yet, how is this, what message is this sending to the rest of the world? Who, I'm telling you, are looking at that country? I'm not talking about white people now, right? Because I'm sure they love this. I'm sure there was all this backroom deal somewhere where they talk to this administration and they have their hand all over this, right? But we're talking about black people who are looking to connect, who are looking to be part of something, who are looking to be part of Africa. This is not encouraging. This does not spell, yay, hey, let's go to Nigeria. This is not. Because if I'm looking to leave oppression, to leave the country that I'm in, that is oppressing me economically, socially, politically, and I'm looking to connect back to the home and the land of my ancestors, and I want to connect, and I'm looking for where to go, I surely ain't trying to go to a place where they just took the national anthem that was created by a black man and reverted back to a national anthem created by a white woman. The same people who were stealing us and taking us as slaves. Why would I want to go there? I don't blame anyone who makes a decision off of that. Why would I want to go there? A time when Nigeria should be campaigning to really get people to visit the country so you can get that money from investors, outside investors, because we all know that one of the key things and critical things for the development of any country is investment into the country. Now, understand that Nigeria targets big companies and big businesses. However, we need people that look like us to be inspired to want to invest in Nigeria. We need to have an open door policy where people see Nigeria as a place they can go to learn about the history of their ancestors and to connect with the people who are moving towards the direction of Pan-Africanism. This is not it. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. This is a distraction from this administration inability to move the country forward in a year since they've been in office. This is a real distraction. Keep us talking about this, because I was looking at why. I'm always looking at what's underneath the hood and not what's on the surface. And this is exactly what it says. This is just a distraction. This is just for us to keep talking about so we don't hold them accountable for what we should be holding them accountable for. A failing economy. There's not been one thing this administration has done other than the whole deal with India, the trade agreement with India that was signed a few months ago. There's not been anything that this administration has done that's worth bragging of. None. None. And so this is just a distraction from that. And while I pray that this administration succeed, regardless of who is in office, but for the sake of Nigerians and for the sake of that country, it is in our interest to pray that this administration succeed and not wish that they fail. Anyone calling for the failure of this administration, you do yourself a disservice. I'm not looking for this administration to fail. I want them to succeed. Because if they succeed, the country succeed. Our people succeed. Period. But this is not it. This is going in the wrong direction. This is not it. This is not setting the type of standard that I know that our country is better than this. Nigerians are better than this. I reject this. I reject this. Do you get what I'm saying? I respect the country. because that's the country that I was born in, the country of my people. I respect the people. When the national anthem like this is played, I'm going to stand in respect for the country, but I'm not giving reverence to the flag because of who wrote this national anthem, what this national anthem stands for. That I'm not doing. I'm more likely to put my hands in my pocket. Look away, look down. Think about what I'm going to eat for lunch. Think about something else. Be fully occupied in my mind. That's what I'm more likely to do with this national anthem. I'm not going to put my hand on my chest in reverence to anything, because this does not represent none of us, but remind us of the pain that Nigeria was in for years by our own oppressors and our own colonizers. And that is not the type of life I want to live. That's not what I want to have in my spirit. So this is nonsense. It's high time Nigeria begins to take the mantle of the giant of Africa. If you're going to claim that title, you're going to have to begin operating in that space. Otherwise, you're going to lose that to all the smaller countries around you who are championing Pan-Africanism, who are doing things that people are proud of. If you're going to stand as a giant of Africa, it can't just be some words on a piece of paper like white people like to do. You know, they're all about words on a piece of paper, but they don't mean anything when it relates to us, black people. That is not the mindset that Nigeria needs. That is not the mindset. The mindset you need is to champion Pan-Africanism, is to champion the messaging that brings black people home and bring black people in, to become the pioneer of black empowerment, black enterprises, black businesses, all things black, because you're the largest black country in Africa with the largest population of black people. If anyone should be championing black success, enterprise, unity, Pan-Africanism, it should be you, Nigeria. You. And this is not the way to do it. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please like the video, share the content, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all next time.
Det finns ingen annan där som kan stå här by my side, oh why. Sättet du rör på det får mig att dö för dig, baby. För de här yardis, de vill ju bara dra ner oss. Men du är fett och vanlig, och det jag lägger all min tid. Jag vill ha dig. Du får mig känna safety.